You are listening to the Fly the W670 podcast, episode 63 of season number 3. Crawly, I never thought we'd say this. A disappointing series win against the Cardinals? Huh? Don't forget to listen, download, review, most importantly, subscribe to the podcast, follow on the socials, Fly the W670 on Twitter, Instagram, Fly the W on Facebook, or email us. That's right, flythew670@gmail.com. All right, Crawly, let's get after it. A big 4-game series that wrapped up last night on the four-letter network, or of course on 670 The Score. And game number 1 on Friday afternoon, that one really went the way we wanted it to.
Well, that was Thursday night.
That was Thursday, rather. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
4-game series, Thursday night. Yeah, the Thursday night game was good, too. And the Friday game was good, too. Yep.
And if you remember, I did get the Ian Happ bobblehead. I don't have it with me right now, but it is pretty cool. It's got the interchangeable parts and all that fun stuff. But, yeah, it was you know, that marquee lineup that we were looking at, right? So Shodi Imanaga versus Sonny Gray. And Dustin, this one ended up being an all-time classic between these two rivals. Didn't get off to a great start for the Cubs as the third batter of the game, Paul Goldschmidt, and we said he was a little bit cold coming into it. He hit a solo home run to center field. Dustin, it's like death taxes and Paul Goldschmidt hitting a home run at Wrigley. Every time that guy comes up, I don't care if he's 85 years old, it'll make me nervous.
He is a Cub killer, no doubt about that.
Now, the Cubs were able to tie it in the bottom of the second. Cody Bellinger doubled and Nico Horner singled to put Cubs runners at the corners, and Dansby Swanson with an RBI single to drive in Bellinger. The Cubs would take a lead in the bottom of the 6th when Seiya Suzuki demolished a home run to center field, 459-foot blast. That's his longest career home run, the furthest homer by a Cub player this season, and the second longest home run ball at Wrigley Field this season. Unfortunately, the lead did not last long. Top of the 7th, 1 out. Michael Ciani singled, and then Mason Wynn hit a laser that landed into the basket to give the Cardinals a 3-2 lead. The basket giveth, the basket taketh away. Cardinals weren't done. Wilson Contreras grounded out, but Paul Goldschmidt doubled, showed his night was over. Jorge Lopez was first out of the pen, and he was greeted by an RBI single from Nolan Arenado to increase the lead 4-2. So, you know, for me, Dustin, being at the game, you know, bottom of the 6th, Seiya hits the home run. You get the lead, you're all fired up. Top of the 7th, Cardinals go up by 2 runs, and then the 7th inning stretch guy, some country guy comes out. It's like trying to muster the enthusiasm after that disappointing half inning.
Yeah, that was a tough half inning. There's no doubt about that. Some country guy, huh? You didn't even get a name.
I don't know anything about. I'm sorry to all our country music fans out there. I just don't know those guys.
All right.
Now, we talked, Dustin, though, about how this was the second time the Cardinals were going to see Shota, and we were wondering what kind of adjustments St. Louis would make. Imanaga went 6 2/3 innings. He gave up 4 runs on 10 hits, no walks, 7 Ks. A lot of traffic, but he was able to keep a lot of runs from scoring as the Cardinals were 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position. And one of the hits that they scored off of came off of Jorge Lopez. That was an inherited runner, but it was the homers by Goldschmidt and Wynn that ended up hurting him on that night.
Yeah, they sure did. That was tough, and you know, you wonder maybe did they let him stay in just a touch too long? They did go out, didn't they? They went out to talk to him during the win at bat, right? Was it during the at bat or in between? I forget, but
it was before. I want to say it was before the at bat.
Okay, but I knew it was right around then that they talked to him, but you know,
usually it works for Tommy.
Yeah, usually it works, but this is where you know things will start turning around for the Cubs, right?
Well, on the flip side, Sonny Gray looked really good. He pitched 7th innings. He gave up 2 runs on 5 hits and 1 walk with 9 Ks. We talked about Jorge Romero. He pitched 1 scoreless inning. And in came Ryan Helsley, the Cardinals all-star closer, right? He's going to finish this up. The guy throws heat. He hits triple digits. He gets Seiya Suzuki to pop out to start the inning. But then Cody Bellinger hits a solo home run to cut the Cards' lead to 4-3. Now Wrigley's buzzing a little bit more here. Isaac Paredes would ground out for the 2nd out. Now the Cubs are down to their final out. Nico Horner's going to single and then steal second base. He represented the tying run now.
And that was huge. The stealing of the base was huge.
Right. And then Dansby Swanson doubles to score Nico and tie the game. And so now it all comes down to the Palatine pounder, Mike Tauchman, who would come in to pinch hit. He doubles down the left field line to walk it off. The Cubs fly the W, 5-4 lead. They rip off Tauchman's shirt. Absolutely crazy. Dustin, some really interesting notes here. That was the 6th walk-off win of the season. The Cubs improved to 3-49 when trailing entering the 9th. They're not a big comeback team.
No.
The Cubs had lost 53 straight games when trailing by multiple runs in the 9th inning or later, including 40 this season. Since pitches were tracked, this is really interesting. Since they were first tracked in 1988, the Cubs are the only MLB team to have 3 separate 2-strike RBI extra base hits in the bottom of the 9th inning. So all those extra base hits, whether when they were all came with 2 strikes. So absolutely crazy. And this all came off Ryan Helsley, who hadn't allowed a 2-strike extra base hit all season before that game. So phenomenal game. It was so exciting.
For some reason, the Cubs seem to know how to work that particular relief pitcher for the Cardinals. And you stayed till the bitter end. I can't say that I would have done the same.
Dustin, my dad used to always say, man, does not matter. It doesn't matter if it's raining. It doesn't matter if it's cold. It doesn't matter if you got a dinner appointment. No, you stay to the end. You suck it out. And that's the magic of Wrigley Field, is you never know what might happen.
Yeah, and it definitely paid off. All right, so that was the Thursday night game. Then we've got the Friday afternoon, Javier Assad and Eric Fetty, and Cub fans are a little disappointed that the White Sox are trying to help out the Cardinals here.
Right, and you know what? Fetty's debut did not go exactly as expected. Top of the second, one out. Nico Dansby and then PCA all single, 3 singles, and the Cubs take a 1-0 lead. Then catcher Christian Bethancourt, who threw out Mason Wynn trying to steal second in the first inning. We haven't seen that much this season. No. He's got a cannon back there. He belted a 3-run home run, and the Cubs had a 4-0 lead. That home run went into the basket. Remember, basket giveth and taketh away. Michael Busch decided to join the party, hitting a solo home run to make it 5-0. In that second inning, Fetty threw 41 pitches. Unfortunately, the Cubs could not knock him out as he kind of got locked in, and he retired the next 10 Cub hitters he faced. So just a bad start, but he was able to kind of turn it around. So glad that the Cubs got to him early.
Got to him when they did. Yep. They capitalized when they could.
Now, there's always going to be drama in a Cubs-Cardinals game. Assad gives up 2 singles to walk the bases loaded, and then walks the bases loaded with 2 outs, and Paul Goldschmidt up to bat. Dustin, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but you got the bases loaded. Assad walks Paul Goldschmidt to make it 5-1, and I don't think it was the worst idea.
No, I have no problem with that at all. 0.
Now, Assad got Arenado to fly out to left and the inning without any more damage. Assad once again struggled with control. He only lasted 4 innings, gave up 1 run on 4 hits with 3 Ks and 3 walks. A lot of deep counts. He had to leave the game after the 4th with 97 pitches, which meant the Cubs bullpen would have to cover 5 innings. Tyson Miller first out of the pen in the 5th, and he retired all 5 hitters he faced. Drew Smiley was called on to get the 3rd out of the inning. He allowed Lars Nootbaar to reach on a dropped catch on a good throw by Michael Busch. He won, but got Tommy Pham to line out to end the inning. Smiley would walk Michael Ciani, but got Mason Wynn to ground into a double play to end the inning. Then it was Julian Merriweather's turn, Dustin. This is where it gets dicey. Merriweather struggled a little bit since he's come back from injury, and that's just expected. He was out since like end of April. So, he ended up on, he ends up here. He walked the first batter he faced, strikes out the next 2, and then he walks the next 3 batters. He walked Tommy Pham with the bases loaded to make it 5-2. His day is done. Hector Neris comes in, bases still loaded. He walks the first batter he faced, Brandon Donovan, and now the score was 5-3 Cubs.
And you're thinking, come on now.
Hector was able to strike out pinch hitter Brandon Crawford to leave the bases loaded. But in that inning, Dustin, 2 runs scored. There were 5 base runners and 3 strikeouts. Not 1 ball was put in play the entire inning.
Crazy.
I mean, just
absolutely
unbelievable crazy inning. The Cubs were able to get one of those.
You almost have to write that up. It's crazy.
Yeah, you literally walked in 2 runs. Cubs got one of those runs back. Seiya Suzuki doubled off reliever Kyle Leahy. Leahy caught Seiya leaning, had him picked off, but his throw to second was offline, and Seiya's able to score from second to give the Cubs a valuable insurance run, and Neris would come back in and get a 1-2-3 ninth, and they would win their 3rd game in the row. They were 2 for 9 with runners in scoring position. The Cardinals, though, 0 for 7, so good to be on the right side of that number for once.
Yeah, not very often, unfortunately, this year, but yeah, that day it was.
So, Dustin, now we get to Jameson Taillon versus Kyle Gibson. And the question we asked...
This is the Saturday game, yeah.
Yeah. We wanted to know if J-Mo could bounce back after that awful start in Cincinnati. Didn't start out good. He gave up a home run to Alec Burleson in the 1st inning that was originally called a double, but the Cardinals' challenge was overturned. Dustin, a 3rd basket shot. 3 days in a row, there was a basket shot home run. Speaking of home runs, that was the 9th home run given up by Taillon in the last 9 games. So just kind of want to watch that a little bit. The Cubs, though, answered back immediately. Ian Happ led off with a walk, and Michael Busch hit a home run for a second consecutive game to put the Cubs up 2-1. Cubs would continue to add runs in the bottom of the second. Nico led off with a single. Dansby would strike out, but PCA hit his 5th triple of the season to score Nico. Then Miguel Amaya bunted to the pitcher, but PCA so damn fast, only play Gibson could make was to first. How much fun is it to watch Hollywood Pete, man? Puts the Cubs up 4-1.
Yeah, now, let's save that for a second.
But the thing about a good pitcher like Kyle Gibson, you want to try and get to them early before they get into a groove, just like the day before with Eric Fetty. That's what happened in this game. Cubs scored 4 runs on 3 hits and a walk in the first 2 innings, but he gave up only 2 singles all the way through the 7th inning. So that's what happens. And luckily for the Cubs, Tyone was on his game after the Burleson home run in the first. J-Mo was lights out. His usual quality start, going 6 innings, giving up that 1 run on 6 hits with no walks and 4 Ks. So good to see him bounce back, Dustin.
Yes, absolutely. No doubt about that. Excellent.
Now, in this game, there are 2 plays we need to talk about defensively, and I think that's where you were leaning there, Dustin. One did not hurt the Cubs. The other cost them the game, and it's something we've seen too much this season. Top of the third, Tommy Pham hits a duck snort. Nico is running back to try to get it, and at the last second, he peels away. Suzuki tries to lunge to get it. He had it for a second. It popped out of his glove as he hit the ground, and it was scored a double. Luckily, Tyone and his defense were able to get out of it. No damage done. Justin, I'm wondering if Bellinger decides not to opt out, which is what probably isn't going to happen. Would the Cubs consider Bellinger and Wrighton just having, say, a DH?
Very well could. Makes a lot of sense right now because there's not a lot of flexibility in this lineup right now.
Right. Now, the second play that cost the Cubs the game was nearly identical, and it happens in the top of the 8th. So if we kind of paint the scene here, Porter Hodges on the mound, gets the first out, but then Alec Burleson draws a walk, and Wilson Contreras gets hit by a pitch. It grazes him on the hand. So now the tying run is at first. It just reminded me of Wilson. You know, he's annoying when he's on the other team. When he's on your team, you love him. The guy just grinds out at bats and finds a way to get on base. You know what I mean? Yep.
He's a grinder. That's a word for him.
Yep. Now, Hodge gets Paul Goldschmidt to line out for the second out of the inning. The next batter, Brendan Donovan, hits one to third. Isaac Paredes makes a great stop deep in the hole, but he should have pocketed the ball, bases loaded, right? But instead, he unleashes a wild throw to first. E5, run scores, and the runners advance to second and third. The Cubs lead is cut to 4-2. You know, that's a stupid play. It shouldn't have happened. And that's, you know, he's not hitting really much now, so you're hoping for better defense. That was a bad play.
A bad play. Yep.
But now you got the runners at second and third. You're up 4-2. Nolan Arenado's up to bat, so you're feeling nervous. Hodge gets him to hit a duck snort between Nico Hoerner and PCA. Just like the third inning, Hoerner is going back, kind of sets under it, but then peels away at the last second. This time it's PCA who lunges at it. He can't make the play. Since there were 2 outs, the runner was going on contact. Yep. So both runs scored. The game is tied. But Dustin, you know, I know you might want to look at PCA on that one, but the same thing happened to Seiya. I don't know what's going on with communication. I don't want to say it's Seiya's fault. I don't want to say it's PCA's fault. It happened twice in the game, and Nico was kind of involved in first plays. You know where I stand on this. When I've talked about PCA and I said, get the hell out of his way. There's no reason. I mean, there's no reason for Nico to be that far back. Now, there's a lot more to it, Dustin. I mean, okay, is the wind blowing in or out, right? Who's the hitter? There's a lot of things, but to me, PCA, 1, he has to be more aggressive and louder in calling it. And 2, if Nico's going to plant under it, you can't peel away at the last second. Just hold your ground then at that point. I don't know what they can do. It has to be figured out. And obviously PCA is a young guy. But again, it's happened, it happened in this game twice, and it shouldn't have.
Yeah, way too often. No, there's no way around it. No way around it. Something that we'll definitely have to take a harder look at.
Right. And again, I'm already kind of thinking about CubsCon. That's just a question to ask the coaching staff. Who's in charge? Who talks about it? Again, there's a lot of things that go out about it, but I am of the mindset that PCA and Cliff Lloyd did a great job on the Marquee postgame talking about this. Get out of his way. Just please, everybody, get out of his way. And because then, you get a little bit nervous as far as collisions and all those things. He'll make it. Get out of his way. That's my opinion on that. Unless he's playing deep at the warning track and the wind's blowing out, then maybe I understand it. Wasn't the case. I would have let PCA get that ball. That takes us to the 9th. Hector Neris comes into the game. Tommy Pham rips a triple to the left field wall. The ball goes in and out of the glove of Ian Happ. It was a really tough play. He slammed against that brick wall. And now you got Pham on third. You know you're in trouble because Neris really isn't a strikeout pitcher. Infield is in, but it doesn't matter because Lars Nootbaar hits a sac fly. The run scores. The Cardinals now take a 5-4 lead. Ryan Helsley comes out. There will be no miracles this time. And the Cubs drop a heartbreaker, Dustin, 5-4. And one other thing to add on this one, they pulled Michael Busch in the 8th inning to pinch hit for Patrick Wisdom. I would rather see Michael Busch get the at-bat. I'm fine with that. I mean, if you're telling me, PCA, maybe. But stop hitting Patrick Wisdom for Michael Busch. I don't want to see it anymore.
Yeah, I don't understand why they would have done that.
They've done it a few times lately, and I think Michael Busch has established himself as one of the better hitters, even against lefties. There was that concern, on the roster. So I just don't want to see it anymore. That's my opinion.
Yeah, totally agree.
Now, game 4, Dustin, Justin Steele versus Miles Michaelis. Again, how would the Cubs bounce back after that devastating defeat? We talked on the last episode of Justin Steele's been struggling out of the break, and the Cubs traditionally play bad on national televised games. I don't care if it's ESPN, Fox Sports, whatever. Anytime I see the national game, I'm not feeling good about it, right?
No.
We found out before the game, too, that Ian Happ was a late scratch as the shoulder bothered him trying to make that play against the wall for that triple in the 9th inning. So didn't start out great, as in the 3rd inning, Lars Nootbaar single, but with 1 out, Mason Wynn would hit another basket shot, this time to right field. Cubs down 2-0. Dustin, that's 4 basket shots in 4 games. What are the odds of that? I've never seen that.
Exactly. I mean, could you imagine what kind of odds you could have gotten on that? Crazy.
Now, the very next batter, Wilson Contreras, would walk, but then Justin got locked in and sat down the next 12 Cardinal batters he faced.
Yeah.
Great job by Justin. His best start since coming out of the break. It should have been 13 in a row, but there was an error by Isaac Paredes that gave the Cardinals their first base runner since the 3rd, and he had to get pulled from the inning. Justin would pitch 6 2/3 innings, gave up only 2 runs on 3 hits with 2 walks and 6 Ks. So great job.
And it's good that the walks were down, right? Because that seemed to be a little bit of an issue. He's throwing way too many pitches, very inconsistent, not hitting the zone, not attacking like he has when he's been really good.
Right. And in the first 2 innings, I know he was going to change his warm-up routine. He kind of felt that there was a little bit of an issue with that. So I think he changed that up this time around, and I think it made a difference. He gave up the 2-run homer in the 3rd, but it was a basket shot. And I'm not going to freak out about it. But, with Steele dealing now, the Cubs offense got to work against Michaelis, down 2-0 in the 4th. Paredes hit a 1-out single. Talkman in for Ian Happ, doubled to put runners at 2nd and 3rd. Dansby would ground out. Paredes scores, and Talkman moves to 3rd to make it 2-1. Now there's 2 outs in the inning. PCA's up. Miles Michaelis balked. He got set, then stepped off the rubber. That's a balk. And so Talkman scores and the game is tied. Thank you, Michaelis, right?
Yeah, they gave him a chance, right? Gave him a shot. Get back in.
3-run. Bottom of the 5th, Cubs had 2 more runs. Miguel Amaya and Nico Horner both singled to put runners at 1st and 3rd. Michael Busch would single to put the Cubs up 3-2.
Yes.
Cody Bellinger sack fly to make it 4-2. And then in the 6th inning, both Michael Talkman and Miguel Amaya would both solo home runs to give the Cubs a 6-2 lead. That's how it would end. The Cubs scored 6 runs on 11 hits, but they were only 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position. But the 2 solo home runs, the balk, RBI ground out, a sack fly, they made up for it.
Right. But, so if you slug a little bit, sometimes you can get past the fact that you can't hit with runners in scoring position.
Exactly. But, Dustin, a couple things from this series that really stand out. Number 1, PCA is really, really hitting the ball, and he has been well since Kansas City. This kid is a really good offensive player, and Miguel Amaya has been doing really good lately. And so I think this is kind of the tough thing for fans to really get is with young players, it takes time. Now, when you talk about Christopher Morel, who's doing well in Tampa Bay, he's playing to how many people in a stadium, right? What do they got? What do they average? Like 8,000 fans?
Right.
You got what? 1 beat writer, compared to the Chicago. It is such a different market. And, this is a team that was expected to contend. And so when you look at this kind of game, it's this kind of series, and you see Amaya contributing, you see PCA contributing both offensively and defensively, it makes a difference. But you have to give the guys time, and that's why it's been hurting you when you've had guys like Nico and Cody and guys at the top of the lineup, Cody Bellinger, struggling. When those guys struggle, that makes everything PCA and Miguel Amaya as young guys, it amplifies it. The other thing, Dustin, that, I really wanted to focus on is that I know this is a big point for you. We always talk about, hey, the games count equally in April as they do in August, right?
Yep.
But, you can't freak out in April. But when you get to this point in August, I never thought I would be disappointed to see the Cubs take 3 of 4 from the Cardinals. Never in my life. But Dustin, it was there for the taking. A 4-game sweep of the Cardinals in the division. If they would have won that game, if they hadn't blown it, that would have put the Cubs with the series advantage over the Cardinals, as far as tiebreakers are concerned. And so, when you get to August, when you shouldn't make these kind of mistakes ever, but this is a time where you can't do this. You have got to be locked in because you don't have time later on to make it up. You're running down to the last month and a half of the season. So, you blow a game in April. Well, you can make that up in, later on, but now you can't make mistakes. Every mistake is magnified. It's amplified. The Cubs have got to they've been playing really good defense. They've been playing really well in general, but it's these little slip-ups, these little mistakes, Dustin, whether it's base pass, whether it's fielding, whether it's runners in scoring position, you've put yourself against the wall that now these cost you a lot more. You cannot do it anymore.
Nope, you got to fix it up. You got to tighten things up. There's absolutely no doubt about that. But hey, listen, it's always good to take a series, especially 3 out of 4. Only disappointing part, obviously, as we just talked about, you couldn't win all 4 of them. You are listening to the Fly the W670 podcast, season 3, episode 63, a disappointing series win against the Cardinals. Never thought we'd be saying that. Don't forget to listen, download, review, subscribe to the Fly the W podcast. Leave us a 5-star review. You can also email us at flythew670gmail.com. And don't forget, you can watch us, that's right, on the 670 The Score YouTube page. And in this segment, Crawly's talking to Tommy Birch of the Des Moines Register, as there is a whole lot happening with the AAA Cubs. And Tommy will give us the latest about the iCubs.
Joining me now on the Fly the W podcast, we are happy to have on our old friend, Tommy Birch. You can read all his work at the Des Moines Register. Tommy, I know they say in Des Moines the city is buzzing, but boy, is it ever after what you broke yesterday, Sunday night. Great news for Cub fans.
Yeah, some really big news, obviously, with Matt Shaw, James Triantos, and Kevin Alcantara coming to the Iowa Cubs. It's absolutely huge news having, one top 10 prospect, but having 2 top 10 prospects and having 3 top 10 prospects and 3 top 100 in all baseball coming up at the same time is pretty rare. I was trying to think about the last time we've had 3 promotions of that sort happen at the same time, and I can't remember the last time it's been 3. I know we've had 3 come up kind of at the same time, or at least break camp. It kind of reminds me of like Javier Baez, Chris Bryant, Aston Russell, all breaking camp with the Cubs, Iowa Cubs, I think in 2015. They actually didn't all play together. Chris ended up getting called up. Javi missed the start of this season, but to have 3 of that caliber get called up from AA at the same time, it's pretty rare.
And so, like I said, I mean, right now you guys have 7 of the organization's top 10 prospects, according to your article in the Des Moines Register. Obviously, Cade Horton, who was pitching great. Unfortunately, hopefully he gets back soon. But now you got Owen Casey, you got Moises Ballesteros, you got Michael Arias, Matt Shaw, James Triantos, Kevin Alcantara. I mean, like, if you've not been to Principal Park, I don't think there's a better time to actually ever go than now.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting some legit prospects, and the guys that have already been there. You mentioned Owen Casey, Moises, Michael Arias. All those guys have actually they've been really impressive. Moises has really adapted really well from AA to AAA. Owen Casey has put together a terrific AAA season, and Arias has pitched really well at times and kind of shown a lot of his potential. So. A lot of the focus will be on the 3 coming up, but the 3 that have been here over the past month or so have been really impressive as well.
So, I mean, when you take a look and Marty Peavy is going to be the one who's going to be with the lineup card here. I mean, so you're going to probably, continue with Owen Casey at left. I mean, would you figure Kevin Alcantara would maybe play some center?
Yeah, possibly. That's going to be the interesting thing. And then kind of figuring out where Triantos and Matt Schaff into things too in the infield is going to be the interesting story as well too. So, you know, the roster was really decimated by injuries for a long time. I believe at one point the Iowa Cubs had 12 guys on the injured list. They were having to um, dip into the indie ball route, getting Jack Reinheimer. They were having to pull guys off their couch like Jake Hager. And not to take anything away from those guys. Those guys played some really good defense and put together some really good at bats now. But this probably represents more of a lineup that Cubs fans really want to see, and it's about as prospect packed as they come. Like I'd written in my story, 7 prospects in the top 25 for the Cubs. I'm not sure you're going to find a AAA team with that many prospects in one lineup anywhere else in all minor league baseball.
We were talking about Owen Casey, and I was talking to my partner Dustin, and
Sure.
we don't know what's going on with Ian Happ. He really banged into that brick wall very, very hard the other day to try to get that ball that Tommy Pham hit out there. Would you think a possibility that maybe Owen Casey gets a look to see if he can maybe play some left field if God forbid Ian Happ has to go on the IL for say 10 days?
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't shock me. I think obviously with Gilberto Celestino getting hit in the face, that kind of took him out of the mix of things. He was hit in the face with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball the other day, suffered multiple fractures in his face. I always thought he was going to be the kind of the next guy up, but Owen Casey has put together a really solid season. He's gotten on base. He's hit for some power. The power's really come on late, and I would say out of all his tools, it's like, man, he's got some sneaky tools too, where you saw him throw out a runner from right field during the game on Sunday. You'll see him hustle, get some infield singles, stuff like that. So, you look at Owen Casey, you see the big frame, you think that's a guy that's going to hit 15, 20, 25 bombs in the majors, and he eventually probably will. The power is still being tapped into. But the other tools, the athleticism that he has is really, really interesting and really, really appealing too, and stuff that needs to be talked about as well.
Now, you talked about injuries decimating the lineup for the Cubs, but you guys do have some new players that have come in from trades. And one of the guys that really kind of, is interesting is Jack Neely, who was, I want to say he was with the Mark Leiter trade, correct?
Correct. Yeah, he actually pitched for the Iowa Cubs on Saturday night and looked really, really good. Sat in the mid to high 90s with his fastball. I think struck out the side in one perfect inning. Just looked absolutely phenomenal. So he's going to be a fun guy to watch. And that first outing was really impressive. Just how poised, how put together, and how polished he already looked. Now it's just one outing. I want to see more, but that was a joy to watch.
Right. And when you think about the Cubs bullpen at the major league level, it just doesn't have a lot of flamethrowers, guys going in that, luckily Julian Merriweather's back, but he's still, you saw him rehabbing, obviously. But other than, there's just a few guys that really can get it up there. We saw the Cardinals closer Healy the other day, and just hitting 101 and stuff like that. You're looking for guys that can miss bats, and Jack Neely is a guy that really is an interesting prospect.
Yeah, and just really attacked the strike zone too. I think he threw 19 pitches, 11 or 13 for strikes, I think, during that outing on Saturday. And then another guy, Daniel Palencia, who you guys have gotten a lot of looks at in Chicago, he has pitched really well when he is really on. He's a guy that, he's going to run it up to 100, 101, and when he's attacking the zone, he's about as tough as anybody in that Iowa Cubs bullpen as well. So, they've definitely got some intriguing guys sitting down there in the bullpen that you definitely want to keep close tabs on, and those two are probably the big ones right now.
When we talk, Tommy, about top prospects, a guy that kind of just gets lost in the shuffle who, I remember his call up against the Cardinals, who the Cubs just faced, but was Caleb Killian, came over in the Chris Bryant trade. And to me, he looked like he was I thought, ahead of Jordan Wicks as far as that fifth starter spot in spring training. And then he gets injured, and now he's kind of working his way back. What are you seeing right now out of Caleb Killian as he tries to make it back to the majors?
Yeah, I mean, he actually pitched out of the bullpen for a little bit, and then they moved him back to the starting rotation. And when he got his first start, I believe Friday or Saturday, I believe it was Saturday night, he threw 4 hitless innings. He looked absolutely sharp. And the thing about Caleb Killian is, it seems like there is a massive difference between when he's on and when he's not on. But when he is on, he's been absolutely unhittable. And I think the good thing for him is he's seen a big jump in velo. He told me he actually didn't know what the reason was for the jump in velo, but over the last couple of years, he's seen it kind of pop up a little bit more. And I kind of thought they might keep him in the bullpen just because that's where the velo could kind of play up a little bit more. It might be a quicker rise to the big leagues, but it looks like they still see him as a possible starter, or at least want to stretch him out as a starter. I think the game plan kind of was like, okay, we're gonna keep you in the bullpen right now. If a need arises, then we've got you in the bullpen. This way, the need did not present itself. They can stretch him out, and it's easier to go from being a starter to a reliever than vice versa. So at least this kind of keeps their options open for them. But he's looked really sharp during his first start. Now the key moving forward is going to be kind of stacking them. Consistency has kind of been the big issue for Caleb Killian, but man, the stuff has always looked like it's there. It's not that long ago that he was the top pitching prospect in the entire system. It's not that long ago that everybody was looking at him as possibly being one of the next big guys in the system. So I think a lot of people have kind of given up on Caleb Killian and probably given up on him a little too fast.
Now, a couple other guys that are down there that we talked about as far as top prospects. I mean, I saw, the funny thing is, I went down last year to Myrtle Beach and I saw Michael Arias pitching to Moises Ballesteros. And Tommy, you know what it's like when you see something that's special. Those
Sure.
two guys just really, to me, are two intriguing prospects, especially with the question of, with the DH and Moises and what he can do. That hit tool just looks so impressive.
Yeah, to me, one of the things I was thinking about when I think about the hit tool is the other day he saw a 92-mile-an-hour fastball in the corner that I think a lot of young guys would probably have tried to pull and try to do something big with, but he was like, "Look, it's 92 on the corner. I'm just gonna go the other way. I'm gonna take my double, and that's gonna be a good at bat." And that showed maturity, it showed self-awareness, and it showed his understanding of the play as well, which I thought was uberly impressive. And you hear a lot of those type of stories about him growing up and just what type of polished hitter he's always been. So it really shouldn't be that big of a surprise. But you see that pretty often where he understands the strike zone, he understands the count, he understands the ball placement, what to do with it, and try not to really do too much, which makes the power asset that he has, where we've seen him hit some real big bombs as well, that much more impressive as well, knowing that when he does get his pitch to hit and he gets the opportunity to really drive or do something with it, he really takes advantage of it.
And you mentioned Arias and that ability to throw heat, and I think a lot of times, the thing that people have to understand that for the prospects to really survive at the next level, we see it with Porter Hodge and when Luke Little was healthy and stuff like that,
Sure.
is the ability to throw strikes. Because once you get to the bigs, man, they're going to lay off stuff that other guys in AAA might not, and so it's that control aspect and hoping that Michael Arias can not only bring the heat but also control it.
Yeah, we've seen at times where he can really attack the strike zone, but it's the consistent part that is probably, stopping him from being a big league relief pitcher right now. And I think it's totally understandable for where he is and his age, his development, and just what they want him to be and how far he's already come too. So what he's done has already been impressive. But if he can throw strikes just a little bit more, not that much more, just a little bit more, like the stuff is there, the moxie is there. You watch him pitch, and it's a lot of fun where he kind of does like his little shimmy on the mound, like where he's got that quiet confidence and cockiness to him that I think will appeal to a lot of fans when they get to see him pitch.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. Now, one guy you got to see pitch, but only unfortunately for a short time, was Adbert Alzolay. He's going to have to get some surgery done, but tough story. Did you see anything when he was out there in Iowa? I mean, it didn't look like it was that rehab start. You could tell something was a little bit off.
Yeah, and that was the tough thing to figure out was it something that's wrong with him? Was it the fact that he hasn't gotten a game in a long time? But, usually those first outings, you try not to read too much into the results, but the results weren't good. They weren't pretty. It wasn't a great outing, and it's a really tough blow for him. So that's unfortunate, but, man, he's the guy that the Cubs obviously desperately needed and sorely missed right now.
Right. There, and fortunately for the Cubs, like, we've been talking about, there are some intriguing arms, and this is going to be, we're looking right at September, and you're going to see some call-ups. Who would you say is most likely to be called up when the rosters expand in September?
Yeah, I mean, Arias is definitely a guy that I would keep an eye on. Caleb Killian, if he keeps pitching well. Daniel Palencia. Those type of guys are the ones I'm really keeping my eyes on. But at least when it comes to bullpen type of guys, those are who I would say have the biggest shot getting called up right now.
Well, Tommy, again, the city of Des Moines is buzzing with this big call-up. And again, people have got to get out. I've been to Principal Park when there's been good teams. I've been to Principal Park when there's bad teams. Either way, it's a fun time. You got to stop by my guys at the bait shop. But boy, oh boy, man, like I said, if you are someone that is excited about the future of this team, now is the time where the stars have kind of aligned for you guys. I can't wait to see what happens with this Iowa team coming up. Tommy, can you give our listeners an idea of where they can find your work and where they can find you on the socials?
Yeah, check out DesMoinesRegister.com. I'm on Twitter at Tommy Birch, BIRCH. I've got Instagram, Snapchat. I think I got TikTok. I don't think I'm too active on there. I'm more of a lurker than a participant. But check it all there. Get a subscription to the Des Moines Register and help me pay for some diapers.
Oh, I don't miss those days, my friend. But I hope you get to enjoy watching all these young prospects coming through, and I'm looking forward to seeing you soon, Tommy.
Me too. Get down here. We miss you.
All right, buddy. You take care.
Take care.
This is the Fly the W670 podcast. It is episode 63 of season number 3, a disappointing series win against the Cardinals. Don't forget to listen, download, review, and subscribe to the Fly the W podcast. A 5-star review is appreciated. You can email us at flythew670gmail.com, and don't forget to watch us on the 670 The Score YouTube page. All right, Crawly, after taking 3 of 4 from the heated rival between St. Louis and Chicago, where are the Cubs sitting?
Right now, they are out of last place.
Woohoo!
You got the Reds in the basement, 53 and 58. They're 9 games back. The Cubs are 55 and 59, 8.5 back. Pirates 56 and 55, 6 back. And St. Louis 57 and 55, 5.5 back, with the Brewers 62 and 49. But Dustin, the thing to kind of keep in mind with the wild card right here is that's really what you're watching. Milwaukee and St. Louis obviously are struggling a little bit here. The Cubs are 6 games back from a wild card spot. They are ahead of the Reds again, but they're behind the Giants, who are 4.5 games back. Pittsburgh 3.5, St. Louis 3, and the Mets 1.5. So again, a lot of teams to leapfrog. But if you take a look, the Mets have lost their last 2. The Cardinals are 4 and 6 in their last 10. Pirates 5 and 5. The Giants have been playing good ball. They're 7 and 3 in their last 10, and that's where the Cubs should be. So again, still alive, but every game counts, and this makes it, like we said, magnifies everything that's going on.
Yeah, but should the goal, Crawly, if you were to set a goal for this team right now, would the goal be to try to pass both the Pirates and the Cardinals? Pass them and see what happens as far as the wild card. But could that be a goal if you were saying, okay, 6 or so weeks left, this is what we want to get done?
I mean, I think that's the first goal right here is just get to 500, right? Let's get to 500. You're 4 games out of 500. And then you start kind of taking a look from there. Okay, where's Pittsburgh and St. Louis? Obviously, if you finish in second place, it looks a lot better than finishing in last place. But if you're talking about just separating these teams as close as they are, I mean, they're all within 6 games, not even 6 games, 3.5 games of each other. I mean, we said playoffs or bust was what this season was going to look like. So I think that, yeah, it might look good. It sounds better to say like, hey, we were in second place. But again, it could all just be who's hot and who's not at the end. And you really, really want to make that postseason.
Right. All right. So one of the things we talked about on the last podcast, something that's gotten under your skin, the Motorola jerseys Thursday night. Any more from your group of people thoughts on this?
What did you think, Dustin? Because I went down there and there are Motorola, like there's that whole room, and in there they have a giant display of Motorola balls right there that are like in white, made out of baseballs. And I saw that, when you saw it from the game, did you think it would? I thought the patches were bigger than I thought they would be.
Yeah, they were a little bigger than I thought. And again, I think if anything, Crawly, it just sets up that question. All right, what did Motorola provide? What was the piece that you weren't able to get before that you're now able to get thanks to the fine deal with Motorola? Answer that question. And then I'll have a real opinion on it. But I need a clear cut. Motorola provided us with X dollars, and those dollars, and I do believe that they put those dollars right back into baseball. I don't think those are going right into Ricketts or investors' pockets. So just let's find out how profitable that is.
The one thing I do want to ask, because when I went to the Cubs store, they got the Cubs store in Gallagher Way. They had the jerseys right in front, the City Connect and the white pinstripe, and each of them had the big Motorola patch. So I guess my question would be, Dustin, if you, Dustin Rhodes, wanted to buy your daughter a Cubs jersey, would it come with the Motorola patch?
I would try to work around that. Absolutely. If I could. Yeah. I'm not a big logo guy. That's not my thing. So I would definitely try to work around it. But again, that's also me. Like my kids like logos. My kids like, Lululemon and Under Armour and Nike and Adidas and whatever else. Right. I'm sure I'm leaving out 10 other brands they like, but I'm just saying. So, for them, they like things that have logos on them. I just personally do not like things that have logos on them. So, each their own.
Yeah. Now, Dustin, as we mentioned earlier, Ian Happ was scratched from the lineup with a sore shoulder. So he's day-to-day. We'll be watching that closely. Now, again, I want Ian Happ on this team because I think he's going to give the Cubs the best chance to win. But I know Mike Tauchman has been playing well lately. Would this be a chance to kind of take a look and see what Owen Casey can do at the big league level?
Of course,
Ian was
absolutely.
The IL,
yes,
right?
Yes, absolutely it would. All about that.
But what worries me is I don't want them to either pull up Alexander Canario, or if you do, let him sit on the bench. This is an opportunity to see what you have. If it was me, but again, you have to let these kids play, Dustin, because there's no point in sitting them on the bench. Just
totally agree. If you're going to do that's an option, then you got to let a young guy like Tauchman. He's been nice. He does a lot of nice things, no doubt about it. This is not an anti-Mike Tauchman thing. But we fans and the Cubs, know what he is. Okay. And he is not a corner outfielder on a team that's going to probably win divisions or play meaningful baseball in October.
Right. And so definitely something to kind of keep an eye out. Like I said, we're hoping the best for Ian Happ, but just something to think about. Keegan Thompson pitched a scoreless inning for AAA Iowa. But speaking of AAA Iowa, the biggest roster move, Dustin, wasn't one that was announced for the Cubs. It was one that was announced for the AAA Cubs, as 3 of the Cubs' top prospects were promoted to AAA. Matt Shaw, James Triantos, and Kevin Alcantara are all one step away from the bigs, promoted from AA Tennessee to the Iowa Cubs. When I saw that, Dustin, I may have to rearrange my travel plans, go visit Alex Cohen over at Principal Park.
Yeah, I agree. That's a big move, and it's pretty cool. You want to get those guys together, playing ball together, living together, being teammates, and all that stuff, because it is that's how it is. So I think that's really cool.
Think about this. If you went to, again, we don't know what happens with Ian Happ, but if you went to go see the AAA Cubs, you could see Owen Casey, Matt Shaw, James Triantos, Kevin Alcantara. You could see Alexander Canario. You could see Moises Ballesteros. I don't think there's a better time to get in your car and head over to AAA Iowa. That's my opinion.
No, total. Crawly, I could not agree with you more on that one. No doubt about that. All right, so Cubs Twins. Let's talk about that. The Twins were just having their way with the White Sox. Crawly, they have lost 20 in a row. The White Sox.
Unbelievable. Last season, the Twins had a successful 2023. They finished in first place in the AL Central, 87-75. They clinched their first American League Central title and playoff appearance since 2020. How about this, Dustin? They defeated the Blue Jays in 2 games in the wild card series. Their series victory, though, snapped 18-game playoff losing streak.
No.
And that was their first series win since 2002. Their season would end with a defeat to the Astros in the ALDS. Remember last year, the Twins took 2 or 3 from the Cubs last season. That was a weird series. They played in May. Drew Smyly got the win in game 1, but then the Twins pounded the Cubs the next 2 games, 11-1 and 16-3. Remember, it was a really bad start for Marcus Stroman too. But Dustin, in the offseason, the Twins have had financial issues due to their TV contract. They cut $25 million from their payroll. They let Sonny Gray, who we just saw recently, Kenta Maeda, walk away. They traded Jose Polanco. Their big additions were all kind of just backup guys, a 37-year-old Carlos Santana, 4th outfielder Manuel Margot, and a couple of relievers. They didn't do much, but they're doing really well. Like you said, this season They're 62-48. They're only half a game back in the AL Central from the Guardians. They're 7-3 in their last 10 games. They're hot on a 4-game winning streak. But like you said, keep in mind, 3 of those 4 wins came against the White Sox this weekend. 20-game losing streak, like you said. The Twins are 30-27 on the road. So just kind of something to be aware of. So,
all right, tail of the tape time. Tail of the tape.
All right, here we go. When we take a look at this here, when we talk about batting average, the advantage goes to the Twins. They're hitting as a team 253, 8th in baseball, while the Cubs are 234. They're 4th. When we take a look at slug, the Twins are slugging 429. They're 5th in baseball. The Cubs 382, which is 22nd. Runners in scoring position, Twins have had a lot more trouble than Cubs considering they're hitting better. The Twins have the advantage. They're hitting 240, which is 21st in baseball, while the Cubs are 28th at 227. But again, for a team that gets on base as much as the Twins, you'd hope they hit better runners in scoring position. Now, the big advantage for the Cubs is pitching. With starting pitching ERA, the Cubs are 6th in all of baseball with a 3.82 ERA, while the Twins are 20th with a 4.32 ERA. How about this, Dustin? The Cubs have the advantage in bullpen. The Cubs bullpen ERA is now 3.70, 11th in baseball, while the Twins 3.88, 13th. And then fielding, the Cubs are slightly better. They've saved 13 defensive runs. That's 15th in baseball, while the Twins are 16th with 7 defensive runs saved. So the Cubs have the advantage on the pitching and defensive stats, while the Twins have all the advantages on the hitting stats, but the Cubs have been hitting better as of late. So
yes, more crooked numbers lately. That's for sure. All right. So we got the game 1 pitching probables, right? Kyle Hendricks takes the ball.
Yeah, keep in mind here that the Cubs have not announced their probables for game 2 and 3, and I got a feeling it's going to change. We're going to go with what's supposed to happen, but that doesn't mean that's what's going to happen. We do know game 1, Kyle Hendricks versus David Festa, 7:05 start. Kyle Hendricks is 3.09 with a 6.86 ERA in 20 games. 15 of those were starts with 60 strikeouts and 85 in the 3rd innings. Kyle's made 3 starts since the All-Star break. He's gone 5 innings in each of those starts. Like we said, Dustin, that's a pretty good limit to have somebody up in the 5th. Took the loss on July 20th against the Diamondbacks, giving up 3 runs on 3 hits. On July 26th, I saw Kyle give up 6 runs all in the 5th inning after the Royals scored all with 6 runs with 2 outs. Key play was a bad defensive play by Seiya Suzuki. He got the win in the last start, pitching 5 innings and giving up 3 runs all in the 5th. Kyle's 1-2 lifetime against the Twins with a 4.34 ERA. Only a handful of Twins have at-bats against Kyle. Carlos Santana's 5 for 16. Manuel Margot is 2 and 8 against Kyle. So not too much here. But David Festa is a 24-year-old righty who was a 2021 draft pick from the Twins. Been back and forth between the Twins and their AAA affiliate, the St. Paul Saints. Festa is 1-2 with a 6.98 ERA in 4 games. 3 of those starts, 21 strikeouts and 19 in the 3rd innings. Festa's never faced the Cubs, and none of the Cubs hitters have seen him. Festa features a 4-seamer, a fastball, a slider, and a changeup.
Yeah, I never like it when they haven't faced a guy. It always worries me, but based on these numbers, nothing fantastic.
Now, for game 2, Dustin, let's keep this in mind, is that Shota Imanaga would have to kind of go on 4 days, shortened rest, 4 days.
I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think they're going to do that.
That would be his place in the rotation.
Right.
They might go with a bullpen game, but we'll see what happens. But he's going to be going up against Pablo Lopez. That is announced. So the Twins starters are announced. The Cubs not yet. Shota's 8-2 with the 3.09 ERA in 20 games started with 118 strikeouts and 116 in the 3rd innings. Shota has not factored in any decisions in his 3 starts since the All-Star break. Gave up 1 run in 7 innings against the Diamondbacks, 3 runs in 5 2/3 innings against the Royals, and 4 runs on 10 hits in 6 2/3 innings against the Cardinals. This would be the first time Shota has faced the Twins, and no Twins hitters have ever seen Shota. So
that's good news. That's good news, right?
But Dustin, if he doesn't start game 2 on Tuesday night, I'll be at that game. Would you think he get moved into Wednesday?
Sure. Yeah. Why not? Unless they're really going to, I mean, I think we'll probably hear from Jed or Carter today, right? Will we hear from the new series or only the new homestand, right?
Right. I'm not sure. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully.
Tommy Hotovy Wednesday, so we'll get to the bottom of it either way then.
Yep, on Mulligan Hall. Absolutely. Pablo Lopez is 10-7 with a 4.65 ERA and 22 starts. He has 142 strikeouts, 124 innings pitched. Big strikeout guy. In 3 starts since the All-Star break, he gave up 1 run in 7 innings against the Brewers. He gave up 2 runs on 7 innings against the Tigers. And his last start, he gave up 2 earned runs in 6 innings against the Mets. He's 1-2 lifetime against the Cubs with a 2.66 ERA in 4 games started. Not a lot of Cubs have more than a handful of at-bats against Lopez. Dansby's 4 for 24 against Pablo, and Ian Happ is 2 for 8. Lopez features a 4-seam fastball, sweeper, and changeup.
Very good.
Game 3 gets us Javier Assad versus Joe Ryan. That's a 1:20 start. So 2 night games followed by the traditional day game. Javier Assad's 5-3 with a 3.19 ERA in 20 games with 89 strikeouts and 98 2/3 inning. Assad has continued to struggle with command since coming off the IL. On July 22nd, he only lasted 3 1/3 innings, didn't give up a run, but walked 6 and struck out 2. On July 28th, he did better. He gave up 3 runs on only 1 walk and 5 hits and lasted 6 innings against the Royals. But in his last start against the Cardinals, he only went 4 innings, gave up 1 run on 4 hits, 3 walks, and 2 Ks. Javier has not faced the Twins, and only the veteran Carlos Santana has seen him. Only 1 at bat, actually. But Dustin, this is, he's got to start being more economical with his pitches. He cannot be walking. He's got to try to be aggressive, and hopefully he can give the Cubs some length out of the starting spot there.
Yep, that's the hope. Absolutely, no doubt about that.
Now, Joe Ryan is 7-7 with a 3.59 ERA and 22 games started with 145 strikeouts and 133 innings. In his last 3 starts since the break, he pitched 6 innings, gave up 4 runs against the Brewers, gave up 2 runs in 6 innings against the Tigers. And in his last start against the White Sox, gave up 2 runs in 6 2/3 innings. Ryan is 2-1 lifetime against the Cubs with a 2.81 ERA in 3 starts. Not too many Cubs have seen Ryan, but Isaac Paredes is 3 for 8, and Ian Happ is 2 for 6. But again, let's kind of keep in mind that the Cubs pitching probables are definitely subject to change.
Right, and we'll have to see if Ian Happ is a part of this series like we talked about a little bit earlier. All right, the hot and the not, Crawly. Hot and not time.
All right, how about Cody Bellinger, 8 for 24 with 2 home runs and 6 RBIs. Second half, Cody is coming through here, slashing 333, 326, 25. Nico Horner is 10 for his last 30 with an RBI, slashing 333, 333, 367. And Seiya Suzuki is 9 for his last 27 with a home run and 4 RBIs, slashing 330, 400, 630. So to me, Seiya Suzuki right now has been the guy that's most on fire. When you take a look at the not, Ian Happ, 4 for his last 23 with a home run and 2 RBIs. He's hitting 174 in the last week. Isaac Paredes, rough start, 3 for his last 23, no home runs, no RBIs, hitting 130, and he's got 2 errors in the last 2 games. So hopefully he starts getting it together quickly.
Yeah, definitely not the best start for him. That's for sure. All right, who do Cub fans need to be worried about with the Twins?
With the Twins, you got to watch out for Max Kepler, right fielder. He's 5 for his last 15. He's hitting 33 in his last 7 games with the home run and 2 RBIs. And Jose Miranda is 5 for his last 16 with just an RBI, 313, 353, 438. As far as the not is concerned, Carlos Santana, one of their big pickups, is 4 for his last 17. He's hitting 235. The right fielder, Trevor Lamech, is hitting 3 for his last 14. So he's hitting 214. And so those are the guys right there that you would really kind of worry about.
All right, very good. So we know who the Cub fans have to worry about. All right, Crawly, it's prediction time. 3 games over at the friendly confines. Kind of tough when we don't know who's starting and who's not starting, who's healthy, who's not healthy. You know what? I'll let you go first this time.
I'm going to try to stay positive, Dustin. I'm going to say the Cubs take 2 out of 3 because the Cubs have been hitting well lately. Again, the whole show to start, we don't know, but I The Assad start makes me really nervous. That's the one, you know, that I think that they might, who knows if they switch Javier and flip Shota. I don't know, but that's the one to me that gets me the most nervous. Or what if you purposely, Dustin, what if you just did Javier Assad for 3 innings, no matter what, just say 3 innings and then get him out?
Yeah, that's a possibility too. Or, you know, maybe you move him up to the show to start and kind of bullpen day him in that spot. Not a bad idea. I'm going to be with you on this one. I'm going to say 2 out of 3, just trying to stay positive. Well, everybody, that's a wrap. Don't forget to listen, download, review, subscribe to the Fly the W podcast. We're on all the socials, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Email us, flythew670gmail.com, and watch us. That's right, by subscribing to the 670 The Score YouTube channel. Crawly, have a good start to the week. We'll get back together midweek, and we will actually preview a weird Friday-Saturday, no Cubs game on a Sunday series against the White Sox over at 35th and Shields.
Absolutely wild. But either way, I'm going to be there Tuesday night. I hope to see a lot of fans cheering on the Northsiders. Go Cubs! Hey guys, it's Crawly. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. If you want to see more of our videos, be sure to check out our playlist and let us know what you think in the comments below. Also, don't forget to follow us on social media to stay up to date with our latest episodes. Links are in the description. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Go Cubs!